I'm so excited about StoryShop. At the time that we're recording this, I've been playing with it for a couple of weeks now, and we have a nice nice plan here. We know that we're going to get a small group, and we could talk about all this, right? By the time this airs. So we're going to get a small group of alpha people, really over the next 2 weeks. They're going to have it for a good month.
Are they all going to be alpha? Or are you going to let some other people in who are total a-holes?
Mostly alpha.
They're going to be alpha in the Julie Huss fashion.
Right. Like, or what does Dave call them? Aggro.
There you go.
They're going to be aggro. But this is mostly people who are either Sterling and Stone or intimate with Sterling and Stone in some way. And we'll just really get our hands dirty. And
just laughing about aggro.
Again, we'll really get our hands dirty on it. And because already, like, you've been using it a little bit, right? Austin's been using it a little bit.
Yeah, he told me casually the other day, Austin's my son. I guess I'm telling you that. And he just mentioned casually like, oh yeah, I was using it for some school project.
Yeah.
So he's in school like on his iPad.
Yeah, no, we want it in schools. I think it'll do very well in schools. Like there's a lot of open potential for StoryShop. But it just feels great after all this time to actually be using it. And, there's been a little, you still see it on Kickstarter. Where's my StoryShop? And I don't want to say it's here because we've said that before.
Right, we've cried wolf enough times.
Like I don't want to say anything until we can actually deliver it. But we're going to be doing that very early March and then going wide late March and starting on building Writer immediately after that. So that's super, super exciting. But like you've been using it a little and you found different bugs than I did. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody who uses it.
And not just bugs, but things that aren't right, but they aren't bugs.
Right.
Little things like
the terminology, even in the sidebar.
Right, terminology. So let me give two quick examples because this may be interesting. Is, originally we were talking in terms of books. Like that was, rather than beats, because beats was, we want to say stories. And there's reasons for that. Like Writer will have something to do with that. And I said, well, I don't know that it should be books because what if you're writing StoryShop? What if you're not StoryShop? What if you're writing scripts? Or what if you're writing short stories? Like it needs to be stories. And so it's going to be stories instead of books. But also things like, we have the character interface and Seth as the developer is like, well, just character. And you noticed I need to be able to rearrange them. Mm-hmm. So like the primary characters need to go toward the top.
Or even group them.
That's what I was going to say next is, when we did the Dream Engine, we had these people are in Pavilion and these people are in Waldron's Gate, or these are the good guys and these are the bad guys.
Yeah.
And that's not wrong.
White hat, black hat. Like you need to be able to, male, female, right? Like however your story is organized, you need to be able to organize those characters. So that's the kind of stuff that you don't know until you know it. And so that'll be really good in February to really get people who are storytellers and who are using this world building tool to kind of, make that happen. And then opening the door to the Kickstarter people, like having
Seth
600.
Is going to be so happy.
Yeah, right. But I think the value there is not just in delivering on our promise, but having 600 people use it at the same time. If something's going to break, that's going to break then. And then as long as everything's fine for a couple of weeks, we can launch wide. And
that is a major hurdle for many reasons. Not hurdle, but a major milestone. Is delivering to the StoryShop people, because right now we're kind of a little like sheepish, like, oh man, we've told you guys so many times, it's been over a year, and we thought it was going to be real quick, we thought it was going to be easy, we had some false starts, and people are getting restless, and with good reason. Like right? Justifiably, and we've told them a few times it's coming, and so now we've run out of times we can cry wolf.
Yeah.
So we want to deliver, we want to make good on all those people who had faith in us.
Yeah. So. But the upside on it is just amazing. Like we keep thinking of different ways we can use it, different marketplaces we can use, ways we can use it for education. Writer has just a ton of potential and
new modules that have come up.
New modules that we'll be able to appify in different ways. But the community is going to shape this, and I cannot wait just seeing how different 4 people use it, right? Knowing that thousands and thousands of people are going to be using this is just amazing. So we'll really focus on scale. Like our next big thing is focusing on Writer, because that is the Trojan horse here. We just want people using it, and that's, we'll have some free version. I'm not really sure what that looks like now because it's not built, so we don't really know yet, but we know that that's a good thing to get out there.
But I love the software as a service model the more I think about this, because, and not from a business perspective necessarily, not like, oh, well, that's the way to make more money, but because it allows us to focus on the right things. Because I'm already seeing, like, when you get a software product, like I used to get the new Photoshop, and it's like if there was a bug in that, you had it until they released a new one. Or if you were like, man, I didn't like the way they changed those brushes or something like that, you just had to deal. And what I like about StoryShop is it's a continuous experience. We're already seeing, these are the things that Seth gave us originally, and he's like, just don't worry, within the next few days that'll be fixed. Mm-hmm. You'll start to notice things change. And I think the pace of innovation in StoryShop won't be that visibly stepwise, like it won't be like there'll be something new just constantly, but it allows us to push things out to everybody and focus on development rather than saying, okay, well, we got to do another major marketing push.
Right.
Spend all our money on marketing and not on development.
No,
we don't have to do that.
We can spend it on development, which is absolutely the right thing to go. And we did get a little pushback when we first announced that it was going to be a SaaS product, but it wouldn't exist if it wasn't a SaaS product. Like that model, it's not scalable, it's not the same. And
there's so much built into it. The fact that there's cloud redundancy, there's all sorts of little like microsecond saving things going on. Like, there's no save buttons and it's just automatically synced and backed up and all the sorts of things that wouldn't have been possible on a native machine.
No, and if we made it so that it was, you pay for it once, and we would have made different decisions in the development. Like, we wouldn't have built it as robust as we did and for as long term, because it's going to require support. But also the community things that we're going to want to do. We're going to want to make StoryShop about community, and we need a members area. Like, there's so much to support here that making it a one purchase thing.
I hope that people understand that it makes us accountable, because if we release StoryShop 1.0, then it's kind of like we did the Indie Fiction Podcast 1.0. Now, the Indie Fiction Podcast might not get a 2.0 because the first version didn't work that well.
Yeah.
And so, right. And so when we look at StoryShop 2.0, if it were a discrete product, that's like, the valley is like this. Like, each time you have to decide, okay, are we going to do that again? Or is it good enough? And with a SaaS product, like, it's either exists or it does not exist. It's totally different. We don't have to decide.
No, you have to constantly get better, and you have to listen to your community. And we've built by we, I mean Seth, a great back-end platform to where we're going to be able to capture all of that audience interest and what do they want, so we can be building it for them. And the features they want most are going to get voted to the top, and that's where we'll focus. I mean, we'll always in-house be StoryShop's biggest influencer.
Especially since we have the authority to say, we want that and we get it.
Well, right.
That in itself will guarantee that it'll innovate.
It's built for us, so we know what we need, and we're already very loud about asking for those things. And so we figure the thinking there is, if it works for us, it's going to work for 90% of authors. But there's still all of these outlying cases that we don't know, and it's going to really shape the product into some beautiful, beautiful things. I know you're really hyped on timelines when we get there. But I'm really pleased with what the MVP is looking like. But imagining what the app is going to look like a year from now, and B, what the user base is going to be like, because I think this is going to be pretty easy to scale once it's out there. There aren't other things like this, and the aesthetics are beautiful. The usability is elegant. I'm just super thrilled with it so far. So I really can't wait until April to see it in a lot of new hands.
All right, so what do you want to talk about next? Previews, teasers?
Let's talk about experiential education.
Okay, I think we should talk about experiential education next.